Hello everybody. Today we're going to be going through bookmarks. So Power BI bookmarks can completely change how your report viewers use your reports. So we're going to be going through how we can get those set up, what they do, and how they can interact with your reports. So as a quick little example, if you're looking at the screen, we're clicking on some stuff here, and this is kind of what those bookmarks will do, right? So just be able to click through some stuff, allow for the easy navigation on the report viewer side. So the way that we get these set up, let's just use a blank page as demonstration. So we're going to make sure we need to have our selection pane and our bookmark pane open. So over on the View tab, we're going to click open our selection pane and our bookmark pane. Those will appear on the right side. Once those are open, you are ready to go. So here, if you're brand new to the selection pane, essentially what the selection pane is think of it as like your canvas, so all of your objects on your report canvas, what is what kind of in the order. So if you put stuff on top of each other, what's on top? So since this matrix is on top of the visual, it's going to be on top. Then if I move it around, kind of so on and so forth, right? So it's just the layers of your report page. So that becomes very handy when we get into bookmarking. So definitely something to know and understand how this works. And then on the bookmark tab, just the standard bookmark stuff, we'll go through that now. So what bookmarks essentially do is they save the state of a report page at whatever you have currently filtered for. So anything you have filtered for, anything that's visible on the page, and then if you add a bookmark, what it does is that bookmark is now saved for what you had filtered for. So as an example here, let's just show you an example. So let's click on this client and select this quarter. So if I do that and I go ahead and push add bookmark, and then we undo this and click on something else now, and then go back, we can see that we go back to that same selection when we added it, right? So again, we just created a default selection with a bookmark. So anytime we select this bookmark, we'll go back to that same filtered state and that exact same page report. And again, if we want to hide something, we can hide something. We can update the bookmark. And then again, anytime we click on that bookmark, we'll filter for what we had and also change the display of the page. So again, bookmarks completely change how your reports can work and interact with each other, and we'll just go through some of the very basic setups of these, and later on go through some videos with some of the more in-depth capabilities with bookmarks and how they can completely change your reports. Alright, so getting into the meat of a bookmark setup. So over here you can see that my selection and bookmarks are organized a bit differently than on this page, right? So this page we just have a very basic selections and bookmarks, and on the other page we're a bit more complicated. And I will go through those reasons now. So over on our selections, what I usually do is when we start using bookmarks is everything can get very messy very quickly because we're going to start hiding things, unhiding things, and when everything's grouped up, you can just manage what's hidden and visible a lot easier as opposed to clicking on all of the items within various groups and stuff. Right? So it's very important to keep things grouped up and organized in this selection pane when we go into bookmarking. So now that we've got everything organized, so essentially let me scroll through here. So what we're going to be doing is going through how to create this little flip button. So we're going to go through how to create this little flip button to essentially just change your little visual from one visual to another. So if you want to change from one value shown on top of the visual to another value to show on top, click a little flip button to do that. So what we've got here is we've got all of these visuals in a little group here. So we've got them in a donuts group, right? And then within that donut group, we've got this selection. So we've got our button, and we also have our visual. And in our other one, we again have a button and a visual, but it's hidden. And you can see, and again, going back to the selection grouping, we've hidden the group as opposed to both of those individual items. Just allows for bookmarking to be much cleaner. So when we click on the flip button, you can see that what's going to happen is this visible group will become invisible, and the invisible group will become visible. And since we've got the same items in both groups, nothing really changes other than from a report viewer's perspective. The only thing that changes is they now have the visual that they want with the data in the way that they expect it, right? So it just gives more functionality to the report and more options for the user. So the way that we get this set up with the bookmark is we, again, go to that state that we want. So let's say that we've got our count on top. So we've got our button right there, we've got our visual here, and we're hiding So let's say we put everything on the page, right? And we've got both of our groups here. Let's go ahead and hide the initial group that we want. So let's create a bookmark for the order value. So with this guy, this order value is on top. So we're going to create a bookmark for this item to show whenever we click that bookmark. So what we want to do is, again, just go ahead and push add when we're on our state. So this is the state that we want. Push add, and then we can just name it. So I'll go ahead and name it the same thing. And now what we have done is, let's go ahead and hide this again. So we can just click on that bookmark and we go directly into that bookmark state. And let's do the same thing for that other one. So again, just hide this group, unhide the other group, and go ahead and push add. So that's the bookmark state that we want, count of orders on top. We click add and name the bookmark, and voila. So now if we flip through the two bookmarks, we can again see right here, look at our bookmark groups, they're flipping between what is visible and what's not, right? However, what we don't want to do is, let's say we filtered for something previously, right? So we want to see what Flores, the company Flores, is doing in terms of their air shipments. But whenever they're doing that, we also want to keep this filtering. So let's say we want to see the other donut chart. We want to see the values of these orders on the donut chart. When we do that, we want those values to stay. We don't want to reset that filtering. But if we currently use these, we'll reset the filtering. So if we go to this bookmark state, you can see that our data reset. We don't want to reset the data with this flip. We just want to reset the visuals. And the bookmarks allow you to do that. So again, once we've created our bookmark, what we can do is we can click on those three dots and we can decide what gets changed within that default state that we created. So do we want to change the data? Do we want to change the display? Do we want to change the page that we're on? And do we only want to do that for selected visuals or every visual? So again, we can go in super in depth with these bookmarks. I'll have a bunch of these videos later on, but just showing for some of the base main capabilities of what we can do here just to start. So again, we don't want to change the data when we click on this bookmark because we want to keep whatever we're filtering for if we want to just change what's on top of this visual. So we're going to uncheck the data on these two items. So again, we want to click on those three dots for the more options and then unselect data. So now let's go through kind of that same little exercise. So now what's going to happen, as opposed to when we click on these bookmarks, nothing is changed now, right? You see our data doesn't change now. We keep our original filtering, which is what we want, so that we can change between those two to see what's being filtered for. So that's great. Now, let's add a reset button so that we also can just reset our data so that we can never get lost in what's being filtered for. But again, we want to be able to make sure that we can keep the same visual on top that we're working with because we don't want to have to reset and then resets all of our visuals to one visual. So if we add a reset, so let's say this is our default view for our entire report page. We want this page to be our default landing page for all of our viewers. Great, let's go ahead and add that. And this is going to be our, let's just name it the title with defaults of orders analysis. Let's go reset. Right, and so when we name it reset, again, you can see everything is selected. So we're going to be changing the display of the page for all visuals. But we don't want to do that. We don't want to change the display for this visual. We want to change the data for everything, but we don't want to change the display. So again, we can just click on those three dots, the more options, and uncheck. Let me show you an example real quick. So if we go through here and we go, let's flip this chart. So we've got the order of values on top. But on our default reset for this bookmark, we had the count on top. We don't want to change it. Again, we want the reset to just keep whatever our visual is that we have on top currently. But currently, if we push this reset button, what it's going to default us to is it's going to change our display to what we defaulted our display to. So again, click on those three dots, uncheck display, and now if we click on that reset, we will keep our original chart that we want. So these bookmarks are a very powerful way to quickly get some insights into how you can change how to filter your data, change how the report viewer experience works so it's a lot more smooth. and very, very in-depth stuff, so it can get a lot more complicated than this. We'll go into some of those in the future, but hopefully this can get you started off with how you can use these bookmarks to totally change how you create your reports. Let me know if this helped you guys, and see you guys on the next one. Bye.